As Jack was chopping a large tree with his old axe, something strange happened. The axe slipped from his hands. It flew through the air and landed with a loud splash in the river nearby. Jack's heart sank. He quickly ran to the edge of the river, looking into the water. The river was deep, and the water was flowing quickly. Jack could not see his axe anywhere. "Oh no!" Jack cried. "My axe is gone. How will I work now? I can't chop wood without my axe. I'll be in trouble." Jack stood by the river, feeling sad. The river was wide, and the water was moving fast. He knew there was no way to reach his axe. It was gone. Jack sat down on the ground, his head in his hands. He had lost the one tool he needed to work. "I have nothing now," Jack thought. "How will I live? How will I make money? I have no way to chop wood." For a long time, Jack sat by the river, feeling sorry for himself. The birds were still singing in the trees, and the sun was shining, but Jack could not enjoy it. He was too upset about losing his axe. Suddenly, as Jack sat there in silence, he heard a soft voice behind him. "Why are you so sad, Jack?" the Virtuous voice asked. Jack turned around in surprise. There, standing in front of him, was a beautiful fairy. She had golden hair that sparkled in the sunlight, and her wings shimmered like silver. Jack had never seen a fairy before. He was amazed. I lost my axe in the river," Jack said, feeling embarrassed. "It's gone, and I have no way to work now. I don't know what to do." The fairy smiled kindly. "Do not worry, Jack. I can help you," she said. "I have magic powers. I can find your axe for you." Jack was surprised. "You can find my axe?" asked, still not sure if he understood. "Yes," the fairy said with a nod. "I will go into the river and find it. Just wait here." The fairy waved her hand, and with a flash of light, she disappeared into the river. Jack watched in amazement. He could hardly believe what he had just seen. The river was still, and for a moment Jack thought the fairy might have disappeared forever. But then, after a few moments, the water began to sparkle. The fairy rose from the river, holding something shiny in her hand. She had a golden axe. It was beautiful, with a shiny golden handle and a sharp, sparkling blade. The fairy held it out to Jack. "Is this your axe?" the fairy asked. Jack looked at the golden axe in surprise. It was so beautiful and new. It shone like the sun. Jack could hardly believe it. The fairy was offering him a golden axe. He had never seen anything like it before. Jack hesitated for a moment. The axe was not his. His axe was old and rusty, not shiny and golden. But this axe was so beautiful. Jack could feel the temptation to take it. He could sell it and become rich. He could buy a new house, new clothes, and live a life of luxury. Jack was about to reach out and take the golden axe when he remembered something. He remembered his life in the village, how he had always been honest, and how people trusted him because he never lied. Jack knew that if he took the golden axe, he would not be telling the truth. The axe was not his. Jack took a deep breath and looked the fairy in the eyes. "No," he said quietly. "This is not my axe. My axe is old and rusty. This axe is beautiful, but it is not mine." The fairy smiled warmly. "You are a good man, Jack. I am proud of you for being honest. Because you told the truth, I will help you. Again. Jack was surprised. What do you mean? He asked. The fairy nodded and waved her magic wand. I will find your real axe now. But first, I want to ask you something. If I give you this golden axe, will you be happy? Jack thought for a moment. He knew that money and wealth could bring comfort, but they could not bring true happiness. He had always been content with his life, even though he didn't have much. What mattered to him most was being honest and true to himself. No, Jack said firmly. I don't need the golden axe. I need my own axe, the one I've had for so many years. The fairy smiled even wider. You have a good heart, Jack, she said. Now I will find your axe. With another wave of her magic wand, the fairy disappeared into the river once more. Jack waited patiently, hoping that she would find his old rusty axe. After a few moments, the fairy appeared again, this time holding Jack's old axe. It was still rusty, with a wooden handle that was worn from years of use. But it was Jack's axe, and it felt familiar in his hands. Here it is, Jack, the fairy said. This is your axe. Jack took the axe gratefully. Thank you so much, he said. I don't know what I would have done without you. The fairy smiled. Because you were honest, I will reward you. Not only will you keep your own axe, but I will also give you something special. With a final wave of her wand, the fairy made the golden axe appear once again. She handed it to Jack. This golden axe is yours as well, and here is a silver axe too. Jack was stunned. But why? I told the truth. I don't need these axes. The fairy's smile was warm and kind. You were honest, Jack, and honesty always brings good things. I want you to have these axes because you showed that you value truth over wealth. Jack could hardly believe what he was hearing. I don't know how to thank you, he said. Just remember the lesson, Jack, the fairy said. Honesty is always the best choice, no matter what. And the rewards of honesty are greater than any material wealth. Jack nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. He thanked the fairy once again, and with his 3 axes in hand, he made his way back to the village.